Hey everyone, it's Super Dojo here, and everyone's been asking like how the Honda Accord's been doing. This is my $250 Honda that I bought in California after pretty much it being my pet project in California for about I want to say 4 years at that time, and I finally bought it for $250. I drove it home from Northern California back to Southern Arizona. It did just fine, and I've actually been getting some good use out of it. I've put a few thousand miles on it since. Unfortunately, it is down right now because the CV axle is busted, but that's okay because my brother he's hooking me up with a new CV axle. Actually, we're gonna get two, so we're gonna replace the other two because I saw both were leaking, but one of them is shot. So yeah, it's been sitting for about a day, but hey, you gotta love Hondas, especially these kind. However, I'm not too happy with this one. You guys probably remember this. This is my old 2006 Honda Civic Coupe. Beautiful looking car, actually. If you ignore the patina paint, it's actually really nice. I really liked the way this car looked. It was a good car to have in high school besides my SUV. And honestly, I really liked this car because also it had a stick. But I've had a lot of issues with the car, and I haven't really been wanting to make the video just because I don't want you guys to think that these cars are unreliable. Sometimes you end up with good ones, sometimes you end up with bad ones, and fortunately this one hasn't really been the best. And part of it is because of mechanic shops who I'm not going to be disclosing names. They had an inexperienced mechanic work on it a bunch of times, and it kept breaking and breaking. But then also besides that, it also had other issues. Like my steering rack went out. The clutch went out shortly after I got it, but I didn't realize it was probably slipping when we bought it because I test drove the car. My dad bought it for me. I test drove the car, and it seemed totally fine. I thought it was normal because I was still getting used to driving manuals at the time. But fortunately, the clutch fatally was slipping. So I had the car up on our lift for a couple weeks, and I did the transmission, and it all seemed to have went back together just the way I took it apart, but apparently there might have been a small either clutch fluid leak or transmission fluid leak. And after getting my car back from the shop, I have it for not more than 2 weeks, and the transmission blew up on me. So I've been really embarrassed, so I had to find a used transmission. I was very lucky to find one for $480. So it was a complete transmission. It was out of a slightly lower mileage car. This one's got 193,000 miles, or 94,000 miles now. But I got really fed up because like I just put a bunch of work in it, but also like I wasn't really trusting it that much. So funny, when I bought this car, I never expected to make this my daily. I actually bought this car to bring it back here so I can finish it, make it look nicer, and I was either going to keep it as a little fun toy, just to tinker with, or to sell. In this case, I decided to keep it and make it a toy. And I'm gonna put my drink down, my soda down. If we look in here, I definitely went all out with this thing. Steering wheel cover, turn signal stock color, new stereo. I got a subwoofer in the back. But we'll make an entire other video for this car. This video is mostly talking about the Civic. When I get this thing fixed, I'm gonna actually make that other video I wanted to make with this because I wasn't really impressed with the last one. So the Civic, let's grab my drink before it blows away. The Civic, it is a nice looking car. Like, look at the interior of this thing. You gotta admit, this is actually a pretty nice looking car. But one thing I wasn't impressed with was these handles broke. These broke soon after I got the car. But the covers right here, without the cost of the door panel, these are like almost 70 bucks a piece. These little itty bitty parts. It's nuts, and they were both broken. So we bought 2 door panels for 100 bucks total. And we were just like, do that. Screw it. We lose a little more money. Not. If you do the math, we actually saved money replacing this entire door panel So we got new handles. Well, actually, yeah, new handles, new buttons. So it's pretty much a full set. The other thing I wasn't really that impressed with the car was that the air conditioning was already starting to act up, but thankfully it just needed a charge. But also the cabin air filter, it was so plugged up with crap that I'm surprised the air conditioning was still even working. The other issue I had was I was commuting in this car to work, and I got a check engine light on when I was leaving that night to go stay at my friend's apartment for a couple nights. And I scanned the computer and it said coolant temperature sensor reading too cold. So I was thinking maybe it's a bad thermostat. So I immediately thought that. I went, got a new thermostat, put it in. Sure enough, that was the issue. The thermostat was stuck open, which also prevented the heat from working. And it also made the car run weird too. Like, it didn't run very good. So yeah. Another gripe is, of course, the stereo. I never replaced the head unit. I probably should, but the stereo, if I ever get this car, if I ever decide if I want this again or not, I'll replace the stereo. The stereo, while the system sounds great, the head unit is falling apart. The auxiliary port is falling apart. Yeah. So this is actually now my dad's car. Well, one of my dad's cars, because I got really fed up with fixing it, and also, I was starting to have issues trusting it. It didn't really drive good. It was having issues a lot. So, sure enough, my dad pretty much found everything wrong with the car and started fixing it. And he's been fixing things here and there on it. And it's so much better. You can be driving it now. It's so much better. But the only reason why I haven't really fixed it is because I'm just worried about messing something up on this one, because this car is a lot more expensive than this one. And thankfully, though, I did a couple things to it, and it seems to have been fine. But it's still here, but it's not mine. But maybe I'll think about buying it back in the future if my dad still has it. Just because I really like the coupe design and the manual transmission. But at the same time, I think we might just sell it, and eventually I'll get a better one. Like, I really want an SI, because this one only has the single overhead cam. The SI has the VTEC. This is my Accord, and it has a VTEC in it, and I can already tell you, this thing is faster than that and the Subaru combined. I know, even though that has a manual transmission, this is faster. With an auto. So yeah, that's why the Civic has been off my channel. I just really haven't been wanting to deal with it very much, but it'll be back eventually, maybe, or it'll be sold. I don't know. In the meantime, this will probably be the last video you see on it until maybe the future. Maybe it'll end up on YouTube again with someone else. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't really that reliable, and I was mostly spending my money to keep the thing going. And then after I quit working, and I just was like, you know what, Dad? I asked my dad if he could take the car back, and because I actually wasn't even able to make a single payment on the car, because I wasn't making enough money at my job at the car wash. So I didn't have enough money to make a single payment on this car. All the payments I've been getting is either putting gas in it or doing slight repairs. Heck, I even couldn't pay the repairs fully. My dad had to pay for them. So I feel really bad, but hey, my dad is a super cool guy, and he's willing to put up with me driving a hoopty like this. But when he saw that I decided I wanted to drive my 94 car, he's all right with it. He actually seems perfectly fine with it, and he actually got me new brakes for it. He gave me the stereo system, gave me the subwoofer system. So he's actually done a lot for me for this car. He also installed a backup camera on it. So this may be a 94, but I can already assure you guys it is much more reliable than this one. And it's definitely more reliable than the Montero, which is actually going to be coming up pretty soon. So that's going to be it for the Hondas. Please like, share, subscribe if you want. And I'll talk to you all next time. And stay safe during COVID-19.